Well, I've collected junk as long as I can remember, particularly musical instruments, but this one's very dear to my heart because of the way I got it. It's a little baby tuba, a little euphonium, called a tenor horn. But the story was good because when I was a kid at school, I used to frequent old music shops looking for things like this. And this was a very old, battered beast. It's very old. I don't know how old, but very old. And I found this, and there's an old bloke in the shop who used to repair them. And I asked him how much it was, and he said, oh, £7. And I didn't have £7 in those days, so I said, I'll be back. I'll get the money and I'll come back. So I went off home and I did jobs and I collected pocket money and I did all sorts of things like that. And about 5 weeks later, I went back to the shop and it was gone. Couldn't find it anywhere. So I went out to the workshop and knocked on the door, and Joe was there. He was a Hungarian, I think. And he came out and he said, yes, what do you want? Didn't remember me at all. And so I said, I have come back for my little euphonium. And he said, oh, and showed it to me. He'd given it to the apprentice. He'd forgotten about me, given it to the apprentice, and it was in about 1,000 pieces. You can see all the bits and pieces here. So we looked at each other for a long time, and he said, give me the £7, and I did. He said, come back in 2 weeks. I came back. He'd done it himself. He was a master craftsman, and he'd taken all the bits and resoldered it. It was much better than it ever was. He gave it to me, and I've played it ever since.
A man I once knew kept a very strange store. You could tell it as soon as you entered the door. And the customers all shook their heads and agreed that he only stocked items nobody could need. He had left-handed hammers, boots made of Hessian, a net with no holes and some tins of compression, a box full of lint from a washing machine, and a dozen glass eyes colored yellow and green. I said to him, why do you keep all this stuff? It seems you'll never be selling enough to make a good living. To which he replied, it's a form of free enterprise and no one has tried. Selling snorkels for tadpoles, jars full of grime, clocks with no hands so they'll never lose time, bottomless bottles